Amir Khan versus Kell Brook is actually looking closer to happening than ever before. There have been some very positive noises coming out of the Khan camp, and we've known for a long time that Kell Brook and his promoter Eddie Hearn are desperate for the Khan fight. It's always been the Khan side of the equation which hasn't been particularly keen on the fight. But as I say, Khan and his team are now making positive noises. I'm going to quote Eddie Hearn here. This is just a little short quote from Hearn. He says, "There is still a way to go, but it's the obvious fight and talks are positive about finally making this a reality. We are working hard behind the scenes with Asif Vali to try and get the fight over the line and hope for some good news in middle to late January." Asif Vali is one of Amir Khan's advisors. So for those of you who don't know, I'm also going to quote Amir Khan here, talking about his options at the moment. He says, "I want to be back in the ring around April time and then again at the end of the year." He's talking about 2017 here, obviously. He says, "I had the hand operation and it feels brand new. I can't wait to get in the ring at 147 again, which is my weight division. I think these next few years are going to be my best. I have been on a downer since the last fight with the injury and all that. Now I cannot wait to get back in training with my trainer Virgil. I need to make sure the fight is right for me. I am one of those guys who will go in with anyone, and it may be my downfall sometimes. I want Garcia, but won't be able to do that in April as he is down to have his unification fight in March. If he doesn't, then I will jump at that. I'm going back down to 147 and still have that position as number one mandatory. But I think that Kell Brook will be the next big fight for me. It would be massive, a super fight." So those are the words of Amir Khan. Definitely the most positive I've heard Khan with regards to fighting Kell Brook. In fact, I'm going to quote Khan again here because he has a bit more to say about Kell Brook. So let me just quote him again. He says, "I have changed my mind." He's talking about fighting Kell Brook. Before he wasn't really interested. Now he says he is. He says, "I have changed my mind because of the Triple G fight. Kell was smart taking that fight. He knew he was going to get beat, but he still took it because he knew he was going to get paid well and make a name for himself." So even though the fight seems like it could happen, this Khan Brook fight, there's still a lot of needle there. It's a grudge match at the end of the day. You can hardly expect them to be too complimentary about each other. Has this fight come too late? Some of you may think it should have happened a few years ago and now you're not particularly interested in it. But I did say, and several other people said as well, I'm not trying to take credit for anything here, I did feel as though if Brook lost to Golovkin, and obviously Khan had already lost to Canelo, that it would bring the fight closer to happening between Khan and Brook, because they'd both be in the same boat, and that's where we find them now. Personally, I still like the fight, but in terms of who I think may be more damaged, I think Khan may be more damaged. Brook has lost one fight. He hasn't been knocked out several times like Amir Khan has. And Khan's been knocked out brutally. There is no way that you can incur all that physical damage and it not affect you in some way. It'll affect some fighters more than others, but it's going to be detrimental. You're not going to be better physically after getting knocked out the amount of times that Amir Khan has than if you hadn't been knocked out. It's definitely going to deteriorate you to some degree. So I wish the fight would have happened before Khan got knocked out by Canelo. I would have been more interested in it then. But I'm still interested to see what could happen. Ideally, I'd like to see Khan in the ring again with a tune-up fight before taking on Kell Brook, because I want to see where Khan's at. We know he is very, very vulnerable. Even in tune-up fights, he gets himself hurt. He might even get himself knocked out in a tune-up fight. We don't know. So I want to see where Khan's at, but ultimately I am interested in the Amir Khan Kell Brook fight. Domestic British fights always go down well. We saw recently Derek Chisora, Dylan White went down very, very well. And I'm expecting Khan and Kell Brook to go down even better than that with the British public. Amir Khan is from Bolton, which is in Lancashire. Kell Brook is from Sheffield in Yorkshire. Those two British counties have a traditional rivalry which goes back, well, I guess you could say it goes back hundreds of years to the War of the Roses, which is a famous conflict in British history. So there's a historical rivalry between those two counties, and these days it's manifested in sport rather than in war. So yeah, let me know what you think about this fight, this potential fight between Amir Khan and Kell Brook. Kell Brook is he's mandated to fight Errol Spence, and from what I read actually today, I found out that the IBF do not allow step-aside situations. I'm not sure if that includes unifications, because obviously the Kell Brook Amir Khan fight would not be a unification. That's a voluntary defense. But from what I've read, the IBF do not allow step-aside, certainly not in a voluntary. So either Kell Brook's going to have to vacate in order to fight Amir Khan, or he's going to have to fight Errol Spence first. and that is no gimme, believe you me. And then if he manages to get past that, maybe even if he don't manage to get past that, then take on Amir Khan. We'll see. A lot could happen in the interim. So, and a lot of people are accusing Kell Brook of ducking Errol Spence, by the way, of trying to look for every other fight possible rather than fight Errol Spence. Some of you may have sympathy with that particular view. Whatever the case may be, let me know what you think about Amir Khan versus Kell Brook. Is it too late? Are you still interested in the fight? And how do you see the fight going if it takes place? Let me know in the comment section below. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.